Excellent. Hey, everybody. Mac Atkinson here on behalf of Julie Herring, Wendy Huff, Judy Dinsler, Lisa Powers, and myself. We want to welcome you all to our summary call for our Autumn Health Harvest event that took place between November 8th and 18th. And we wanted to kind of come together as a group again and share with you all a little bit about some of the things that we learned and enjoyed with the process. And then again, we'll look forward to the second part of this process, which will open up the program and we'll all be able to share together. So to kind of get started here, I'll continue to let people in as we can. We are going to talk a little bit about Sunrider Foods today. So none of the information provided in this presentation is intended to represent a diagnosis, cure for any illness or disease. For any new people that are on the call or listening to this call in the recorded section, I just want to talk just very briefly about Sunrider. Sunrider has been around for over 40 years, extremely stable company. Again, we're working into our second and third generations for many of us in terms of our family. Sunrider has been around for and operates in over 50 countries around the world, which again is one of my favorite parts about Sunrider. Prior to COVID, being able to travel around the world and visit with people throughout Western Europe, Hungary, Australia, and New Zealand. One of the great benefits of this is we have an international or global opportunity at our fingertips. Sunrider itself handles 100% of all of the research, development, and manufacturing. And folks, coming from a manufacturing background myself in the pharmaceutical industry, I can't tell you how important this part of it is. And again, I'm going to repeat it. Sunrider handles 100% of all of the research, development, and manufacturing of over 400 of the world's finest health and beauty products, everything from whole food nutritionals to cleansing beverages to weight management, sports and fitness, green household, and all natural skincare. Everything from Sunrider is produced today right here at our 1 million square foot manufacturing facility in Los Angeles, California. Sunrider is actually duplicating this little blueprint right now and just outside of Dallas, Texas. So within this next year, we'll have another, again, 100% controlled, our own manufacturing facility in Dallas, Texas, which will allow the company to do even more than we can now in terms of new products and new opportunities for all of us. What makes this so unique and special, at least in my mind, it's what we call our philosophy of regeneration. And, you know, again, that's everything from, look, we're talking about all whole foods here, no isolates, no chemicals, proprietary processes in terms of our concentration and extraction, expertise in terms of formulation. Bottom line, what this all means to me is if we nourish and cleanse our body with the right combination of whole food nutrients and cleansing beverages, our bodies won't just be healthy and in balance, but they will actually work as they were designed. They will repair, renew, and regenerate themselves naturally. That's the basics of our philosophy of regeneration. Now, how does this tie into 5-element theory? In terms of 5 elements, folks, most of you are aware of this already, but within 5-element theory, it relates all energy and substance to one of the 5 elements: fire, earth, metal or air, water, and wood. Each of the elements are associated with a direction on the compass, as well as one of the seasons. Each element has a color, 2 body organs, a tissue it governs, and many other associations, distinctions, characteristics, and attributes. So with that brief explanation, Judy, would you kind of take us through the metal element in the autumn season, which is what we've been dealing with here for the past few weeks?
Sure, Mac. As you mentioned, each season has an element associated with it, and the autumn element gets its energy from the metal, and metal governs the large intestine and the lungs. And so the balance between our intake, which is breathing in air, and the food we eat, and output, which is breathing out and elimination, that is what governs this season and absolutely is essential for our health, as I'm sure everyone would agree. The interesting thing about the lungs is that, isn't it typically the season where people might experience allergies or congestion or different things? And that's because of the season. Did you know that? Or did you just associate it with something else like sugar or time of the year where a lot of other people get colds and you catch them? But actually, there's a reason for all of this. And so we're always striving for the balance between the two. The interesting thing is the fluid of the season is mucus, hate to say the word, but it has to do with balance of that. It can manifest in a runny nose, because nose is the sense organ and it is the opening to the lungs. So if it's out of balance, you can have a watery, drippy nose, or you can have the severe congestion of a sinus infection or a bronchial chest infection. So neither one of those, of course, are desirable. So that's, again, interesting, because all of that is about balancing this metal element. I like to think sometimes too about metal as a shield, and you think of the warriors or the knights, didn't they wear a shield that covered the lungs? So we can really fully appreciate that breathing in air is essential to life. And no one would question that. But did you know how you breathe in the air can also be a factor? Because the emotion of the autumn element is actually, if it's out of balance, can be excessive sorrow or grief. And shallow, light breathing can lead to the grief and anxiety suffered. So how we breathe can also produce our health. And then there's the large intestines. That's something we don't talk about a lot, but maybe if we can see the next slide, Mac.
Absolutely.
I so appreciate you doing this last minute. So I don't know if you can see the picture there and understand what it is, but this is referred to as the bronchial tree. And if you look at it, you can kind of see the picture of the lungs on each side and then the trunk of the tree going down. So I found this very helpful for understanding this element, because if you have a large tree in your yard and something starts not looking right, the leaves aren't right or whatever, what do? Probably can't do too much about spraying on the tops of the leaf, but don't you check the condition of the soil? And so we can compare the soil to the large intestine. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of Bernard Jensen. He says disease begins in the colon. But the interesting thing is the Chinese refer to that as the fountain of youth. So you could also say life is supported by that. And how interesting, because what do you notice about a person? Isn't it their skin? And that is the tissue element governed by the lungs and the large intestine, the metal element. So to follow this illustration through, if the soil, so to speak, of the intestine is full of life, meaning the good, friendly bacteria, not stagnant old food, not fat and grease, and the things that don't produce a beautiful above ground exhibition of a tree. But think of it in your body. It affects your skin, it affects your mood, it affects everything about you. So those come into play with our health. So maybe that visual will help you. So as we continue through this time of year, we've only taken 10 days out and focused on it, which I hope it was as beneficial to everyone as it was to me. But we still have plenty of autumn left to think about these things and improve on them, because just as Max showed us with the wheel, what we do now is going to affect how we feel in the winter. So each season gives the energy to the next. And so that's why we need to be aware. So what are the products? Some of the products we focused on. Wendy, can you help us with that?
Sure. Thank you. So thank you all for coming, and we plan to share with you the benefits, observations, things we've learned in working with these required and highly recommended products during this 10-day challenge. And we're also very interested in hearing what you experienced and how you felt. We're going to open that up in the question and answer segment coming up after the break. So first, to start off, we had Conco, which balances the respiratory system and the digestive. It's great for warding off colds and flus, etc. We had Quinary, which balances the 5 major systems of the body in 3 forms, liquid 5, the powder, or the capsules. We had Evergreen, which really supports the transport of oxygen and nutrients and aids digestion. Fibertone, fiber is so important. Fiber it boosts your fiber intake, keeps digestion running smoothly, healthy metabolism, weight control. And we gave you a choice. You could do the Fibertone or the Smart Gummies. The Smart Gummies are 22 grams of fiber per serving with the addition of vitamins. It tastes really good, but just remember, they've got a lot of fiber, so don't eat them like candy. Vitamin D3, it helps support healthy immune, nervous system function and can improve your mood. Then we had Vitafruit, which is a super juice for your skin, nourishes and beautifies from the inside out. So I'd like to get the ball rolling first here by saying that feeding the metal element, improving intestines and cleansing was very important to me this time around. And I worked a lot with Evergreen. It's a very concentrated form of chlorophyll, the lifeblood of plants. It's very similar to our own blood. In fact, many people will drink it before and after surgeries to replenish and increase their blood count. It works great because in order to drink it, it needs to be water soluble, but to be assimilated, it needs to be oil soluble. And so when you mix it in water and drink it, and the minute that it hits the stomach acids, it converts to oil and becomes 100% assimilable. So that's really incredible. It also lubricates the ileocecal valve. So that's the valve between the large and small intestines. You don't want it to be stuck open or closed. I found it's very soothing, energizing, and delicious. And my favorite drink became the grasshopper with Fortune Delight and Evergreen, New Plus and Evergreen. Everything turned green. It's just very beneficial to the liver, and the liver likes green. I also just wanted to say our D3 is of the highest quality. It's very easily assimilated. I wasn't able to take other companies' D3, and it was a concern to me because everything I'm reading about COVID, right? It says that people need to have adequate levels of vitamin D3 people who have adequate levels of vitamin D3 and who are not obese have the best chances of fighting off the illness. So Mac, would you like to share your impressions, perhaps a couple of products that you loved?
Yeah, absolutely. There were a couple on this list. I've except for the Fibertone and the Smart Gummy, I've never really had a digestive issue. So those weren't real important to me in this one. Evergreen Quinary is something I've used every day for a long time anyway. But Wendy, like you, I started using the vitamin D3, which I really, really like, especially because even though we're in Arizona and get a lot of sun, I don't go outside without sunblock on of some type, either our sun milk or something like that. So that prohibits the actual natural absorption of D3 from the sun. So I found this one to be very useful. The Conco, interestingly, was never something I took specifically on its own. And I've really started incorporating that through this particular challenge and have enjoyed it. I mean, I found my breathing is easier in karate classes, hiking, etc. Don't know what else to attribute it to other than the excess of Conco. And I can't quite get up to Dr. Chin levels, but I have been doing somewhere between 9 and 10 capsules every day and really enjoying that one. But of all of them, I got to say the Vitafruit. And Lisa, I don't want to steal your stories or Judy's here either, because I think all of us had an experience with Vitafruit. But suffice it to say, this is something, Vitafruit in particular, is something I'm going to continue with from now on. I found it to be remarkable in terms of my skin, in terms of healing, etc. And again, I just loved it. So enough from me. Lisa, how about you?
Okay, so you can hear me. Always vitamin D. That's always going to be my special product, because for years I was, anytime I got my blood test, they would tell me vitamin D, you're low in D, you're low in D. And I'm outside all the time, wasn't absorbing it. So I've never been able to take a vitamin D because it always made me sick until Sunrider developed theirs. And now I'm able to do it. And as I said in the last class, which was such a thrill for me, my last blood test was just a few weeks ago, and I'm very high in vitamin D, and I've only been taking it since Sunrider came out with it. So that's such a relief to me, and to know everybody's touting it for COVID as well. So that's nice. Vitafruit is my other one. I have always loved Vitafruit. I always have mixed it into my Fortune Delight, and I just love the combination. I wasn't doing it consistently before, and I did it, started up doing it again. I really enjoy it. And I do remember Dr. Chen, after he first introduced it, everybody was sitting around at lunch and everybody was drinking Vitafruit. And he very quietly said, watch and see how the energy is going to change as they drink the Vitafruit. And pretty soon everybody was like laughing and all happy. And he said, we call this joy juice because it lightens the mood. So I definitely feel that when I drink it. And another thing that I have found to do is I love eating sourdough. If I'm going to have like a snack, sometimes I'll have sourdough bread. I love sourdough bread. And I found that if I toast it and I just drizzle the Vitafruit on after it's cooled down, because you don't want to put it on anything hot, but you just drizzle that on, and it's so much better than a jelly or a jam, and good for you, and it tastes really good. So those are my two.
A new snack idea. Thank you, Lisa. Judy, how about you?
Well, ditto, but I would like to say intent. I think, that saying intent is 90% of the law. And so I'm a big Evergreen fan, like everybody else, but usually it's because of blood, the quality of my blood. My middle name is anemia. So anemia, get it? That's a joke. But this time I was focusing on oxygenating the colon more and the valves and all of that. So I think what you focus on, you begin to notice some more. And so the same with Vitafruit. I too didn't take it regularly. I viewed it as just vitamin C, not just, as a treat, but not one of my daily uses. So fortunately with this challenge, using it daily, I saw a tremendous difference in my skin because, here it is in the shop section in the skin category and all, but I just never thought of it quite like that. So I saw definite improvement, softness, and just a better overall look with Vitafruit. And Conco, I too have never really taken extra of it, but years ago I talked with J.W. Emerson in the lobby of Sunrider at one of the conventions, and he recommended it for thyroid. I've heard of it used for lymphatics, and also, of course, respiratory, our main thing. So I'm determined to, I was working up to 10 a day. Then we had the Health Harvest with Sunrider, and both Ruben and Dr. Chin take 30 a day. But for me, 10 will be a nice improvement. And I think it's so timely for the season. So I would have to say, I guess I'll go with Vitafruit and Conco for myself. And Wendy, do you have more on the highly recommended products?
Yes, I do. So the highly recommended products, we are very excited about our Candescent Pure. It's 100% vegan skincare to nourish, cleanse, and balance the skin. I think we all love it. I hope that any of you who haven't tried it will. And there's slim caps, and that's a healthy cleanse, digestive tract via the colon. Actually, Dr. Chen told us it opens cleansing from all the eliminating organs. So it benefits also your liver, kidneys. There's Top Focus, that's your brain booster. Promotes focus, mental clarity, memory, in addition to confidence and a calm alertness. Cali, daily use for tissue cleansing. Cali Mint was recommended. It opens up the nasal and sinus passages to promote better breathing. And I also love, it mentions here, Cali Night promotes relaxation, lifting of the nervous energy. And then there was New Plus and/or VitaShake. Both fill your nutritional gaps with micronutrients and take little to no energy to digest. And So I received a lot of benefit this time from the Slim Caps. They're much better than taking something like Ascaris sagrada. They won't flush out the good bacteria like a laxative will. And you can take them for a while without causing any dependency. I believe Dr. Chen said 2 weeks on. Is it 1 or 2 weeks off? Do you remember, Judy?
I think that's a personal decision, but the 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off or whatever has more to do when you're taking the larger amounts for weight loss and fat loss and stabilizing. But because I know people who take them regularly, 1 or 2 a day. So.
Okay, great. Yeah. So it's not like I was saying, it's not like a laxative where you're going to become dependent.
Right.
Because, okay. So, and I think they're very, very helpful also with Candida. The combination of Cali Night, 2E's, and a Vita Shake before bed has really helped my friend Dee with her insomnia. She was only sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night and now 7 to 8. There's nothing so wonderful as being able to go to bed tired, sleep through the night, and wake up, rested and refreshed for quality of life. So those were my favorites. More experiences, Mac?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm a New Plus and Cali every day, multiple times a day, eater and drinker anyway. So those were a non-issue for me. Slim Caps, again, never really dealt with digestive issues or any kind of evacuation problems. So haven't really done much with Slim Caps, although like all of us, I do remember my first experience with them where I took way too many and I was away from the house too long, but that's a whole other story for another time. The two that really stand out for me are Top Focus. Top Focus, honest to goodness, it is my first food I eat every single day. That's the first thing I put in my body. And without going into a lot of detail, you can look through the ingredients list yourself. We have incredible product fact sheets, but the natural choline, which actually releases the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, is so important within this formula. And for those of you that don't know a lot about acetylcholine, look it up. I mean, look at this stuff. As we've talked about before, when I was discussing the philosophy of regeneration, this expertise in formulation comes to play here, because what Sunrider's done in formulating this particular food so well is it actually allows the acetylcholine to cross the blood-brain barrier, which is just critical in terms of our memory, our focus, etc. The other one that I just got to say I'm loving beyond belief right now is the Candescent Pure. Again, folks, if you've seen my little video I did, you know this story already, but I've never been a 4-step skincare guy, okay? Until I discovered Candescent Pure. I've been using this every single night since it was released in San Diego and I brought it home with me. And I don't know if you can tell, but my skin is glowing. So I love it. I really, really do. Enough from me on that one. Lisa, how about you?
I wanted to say somebody, and I can't remember who it was, suggested Cali Night with the Cocoa Vita Shake at night. And so I've been doing that. And it's like having a cup of hot chocolate at night. And it's just a nice comforting, experience. And then the other thing I wanted to say is just to encourage everybody with the Candescent Pure, everybody's raving about it. I'm thrilled to see that they have the little sample packs. Now, Carla had said they ran out of them. That means everybody's been buying them. So I'm sure they'll be getting more. I don't know, Carla can maybe tell us whether she knows they got them back in again, but I just was going to suggest that it's such a nice thing to send out as a little gift, a trial pack of it. And also I went online just last night because I did not want to just give it out without the little spray bottle of the water. And so I went online to Amazon and I bought the little 1 ounce bottles that have a spray. And I'm just going to add that to it as I send mine out, because I bought 20 of them to send out to people to try it. So I just think that would be a nice thing to do, to give, people that have been on our products for years or brand new people, whoever, to just get a little trial of it.
Right on. Thank you, Lisa. Judy, how about you?
Well, I'll be quick, but I think that's a great idea, Lisa, because to me, the K Pure is fabulous, but it reminds me of the Sun Pack. You need all 4 things. I don't know which step could be left out and get the same results. So I really appreciate that people with lovely skin already can notice a difference and even have nicer skin, and those with problematic skin are seeing improvement. So it seems to be across the board, good for everyone. So I'll look forward to the Q&A and what other people put in. And then eliminating, of course, K-Pure is the best thing ever, but Slim Caps and Top Focus, I don't know, there's a connection there, but both of those are two of my favorites. Top Focus for me is become a daily use necessity. It just helps me accomplish things, get things done. If I start finding myself wondering why nothing is being accomplished, and I didn't take the Top Focus. So it's essential. And I really appreciate Slim Caps because the gastrointestinal transit time is so important to how you feel, your health, to weight management, to all the above. And since now we even have more reason how it affects the lungs, our skin, everything, I think it's something to keep in mind. I constantly have people ask about cholesterol. That hasn't been one of my issues, but it definitely makes a difference with that and calories. So I'll go with those two, and then I'm looking forward to everyone else's input.
Excellent. That kind of brings us to, again, the table foods and so forth, which I don't want to spend a lot of time here. I'm kind of excited about getting to the Q&A section myself too. But again, folks, I mean, there's some great foods that are available to us during this season across the country, throughout North America. And I've been paying so much more attention over this last 14-day period to recipes and so forth in terms of squash in particular. And I saw a great one today that I'll try to share with everybody on the Facebook page. But I guess that's the real point I'd kind of like to make now to everyone. And that is, folks, I mean, please, let's keep going. We're almost there. Let's continue to ride this wave. And I think one of the things that we want to do is we do want to maintain the Facebook page and the Facebook private group. We encourage everybody to continue posting and sharing their thoughts and ideas. And, I got to tell you, I really love the Facebook page because everyone that participated in this event was so great in terms of sharing their recipes, what they were experiencing, what they were doing during the period. And there was some incredible stuff shared on that site. So again, I want to encourage everybody to continue doing that. Couple other things I experienced, I'll share during the Q&A session and so forth. But look, these events, I hope everyone had as much fun as I did. I don't want to speak for Judy, Lisa, and Wendy, but I think I can, and that we all really enjoy these events. And, we've got some great things coming up for everybody too, and later in December as we head towards winter, and some fun things that we'll want to share to you as we move towards the springtime as well. So again, folks, can't thank everybody enough for joining in and participating and sharing through Facebook and everything on this. I hope you all again experienced the same joy that we did in terms of going through this, the learning experience certainly that we all had. And we look forward to the next section, which will be the Q&A. But before I finish this one, Judy, Wendy, Lisa, did you guys have anything that you'd like to share in terms of the end of the presentation here?
I'm good.
I was just going to say that I so appreciate so much Judy and Lisa initiating all of this, and then Stephanie, her daughter, Stephanie Cantu, for all of her work, Mac and Julie joining in. Just so much appreciation for everyone.
Well, absolutely. And again, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and bring this part of it to a close, if you will, and then we can chat for a little bit. So thank you, everybody.
Oh, thank you.